Kelsey, these protests have been starting pretty promptly at 10 o'clock, and as you can see behind me, that crowd continues to grow by the minute, if not the second. Bill, it's pretty much about the same crowd as when we started. It's a couple hundred people. It's important to notice Jennifer did not mention the reason the crowd is moving is they told me that somebody threw a water bottle. The city and Pinnacle Bank Arena say that they've had success using this venue for the past 2 mass vaccinations, but this clinic will be tailored specifically for that 80 and above group. Because of that accessibility, people can take Van Dorn right into this area of parking. You can see this lot is even bigger than the area where the clinic is. The last update we had from LPD on that officer's condition was given earlier this afternoon, where he was listed as critical. Right behind me is that very first aircraft that Offutt Air Force Base has moved down here. It got here about a half an hour ago. Jennifer, it's much clearer out here road-wise than what we were seeing earlier in the day. Elise Poole tells me she was working to assist other protesters she thought were injured at the time she was struck by that rubber bullet. She tells me she didn't realize it was as serious until people around her started screaming.
I was standing up and then I wasn't, and everything was kind of black.
There were scabs.
9 months later,
Stitches in my nose.
this faint pink scar on 19-year-old Elise Poole's nose is the only outward reminder.
The only way I can describe it is like loose. Like my nose felt like loose and it was like down here.
But it's taken a long time to get to this point.
Doctor told me that it's a really complex surgery, and that the bones in my nose were like eggshells pretty much, like they were just completely shattered.
A 1011 crew was in the same area as Poole the night of May 31st. Poole tells me she was marching with a group by 12th and 8th Street when the group was met with a line of law enforcement officers in riot gear.
The police were pushing us back, so we just kept moving. At that point, I thought I saw someone who was hurt and I wanted to go help him. And as I was kind of like walking, that's when I got shot, unfortunately.
The lawsuit is asking for several things, including the cost of medical care, damages for violating her constitutional rights, punitive damages, attorney fees, and other relief the court deems just and proper.
Just boiling it down to just accountability. They should be held accountable, and they should know that what they did was wrong.
Reporting in Lincoln, Ellis Wiltsey, 1011 Now. In its first year at the Cornhusker State Games, esports is already charting to be a top 10 sport with over 500 competitors. Esports is already solidifying itself as one of the most popular events. Its format naturally adaptable to people from all walks of life.
I never saw anything anywhere on the internet that looked quite like Pinnacle Bank Arena sets up for this. Kind of separate the floor into these quadrants. It's really cool.
It partnered with an esport event company out of Wichita to put it together. Their crew brings in all the stages, gaming equipment, and even hires esports casters who stream the games and provide commentary.
Why we provide our own equipment to make sure that everybody has the same machine, so one person isn't playing with something faster or better than anyone else.
The format of the gaming can look a few different ways. The most popular and common has players working in teams, just like any other sport, complete with positions and jerseys.
Amazing experience because Nebraska hasn't seen something like this before. And so we're used to traveling the country and playing at different events, and finally we get to play one here at Pinnacle Bank Arena.
The games also range from classics like Mario Kart to longer form games featured on a main stage like League of Legends.
Esports is crazy growth. You see stuff pop up, die, new stuff pop up and die, new stuff pop up and succeed. Once you get past the first year, that's how you know they're kind of sticking around.
The competition is slated to go through today and tomorrow, with those 500 rolling through in about hour increments. Reporting in Lincoln, Ellis Wiltsey, 1011 Now. I sat down with the Inspector General of the Correction System today. He says in the past 6 months, COVID-19 has changed him and NDCS's role drastically. One of the biggest ongoing issues is too many inmates and not enough space. In July, the state of Nebraska declared an overcrowding emergency, meaning that prisons were over 140% of design capacity. Right now, they're at 150, slightly down.
We had about 5,300 or so individuals in the prison system. Most of that decline was really due to COVID, though, because you had local counties that were not prosecuting and and having trials and convicting people and sending them to prison.
Inspector General Doug Kobernick says staffing has improved at places like the state pen thanks to salary bumps and bonuses, but those staff members are getting COVID-19. There are now 135 corrections workers who've tested positive, or about 6% of the workforce. When it comes to inmates, there have been 196, a vast majority at the state penitentiary.
You know, guys were contacting me because they weren't able to get out of their cells, they weren't able to get showers, they weren't able to get cleaning supplies, things like that. I haven't heard that kind of anger and frustration in my 5 years on the job coming out of a facility.
Kobernick says NDCS is working to adapt to COVID-19, but as isolation remains key, he's questioning why inmate transfers are rising.
A lot more people were transferred during this time period in 2020 than when compared to 2019, so that raises some questions that I'll pursue with the department.
Kobernick also does plan on releasing a full COVID-19 report of NDCS at a later date. Reporting in Lincoln, Ellis Wiltsey, 1011 Now.